I always see the picture of like
the
with
selfies.
this guy. Yeah, the selfies. It's really cool. But
I took that from your book, actually.
Talk more about me. Yeah.
Shout out to your book.
Welcome to the Best Hour of Their Day podcast with your hosts, Jason Fernandez.
And me, Jason Ackerman. With more than 20 years in the business,
as both coaches and affiliate owners,
our passion is to help create world-class affiliates
and coaches by building
better boxes. Welcome to
the best hour of your day.
Today's episode is brought to you by ENLIFTED. As a Best Hour listener, you know that training your mind is just as important as training your body. ENLIFTED provides elite coaches and affiliates with practical, powerful mindset tools that can transform your athletes, your gym's culture, and give you an unshakable edge as an affiliate owner. Learn more by signing up for your free mindset training at enlifted.me/best hour. ENLIFTED, mindset simplified, results amplified.
AAA, Kanan Stanley, CrossFit Never Forget.
Finally made it.
You finally made it. I feel like this is unusual. Actually, as I was walking up here, we're in Orlando at our mastermind, and I was like, we must have had Kanan on the podcast.
We did that one, but never like face to face.
Yeah. Never in real life, IRL. So here we are in Orlando. We just heard Tosh speak.
That was pretty cool.
Were you motivated?
Yeah, I'm hyped up after that one.
More hyped up than after my opening?
It's about this close.
Close.
It's close.
I like it.
Close. You're like right here.
I like it. So I want to talk about a few things. Namely, you're 25.
Yes, sir. Still live at home.
Still in the basement of the parent. Hey, we'll talk about that. We'll get you out. But you run an amazingly successful affiliate, and I want to talk about doing it at such a young age, and also the culture you've created, and I think you've created a lot of that through vulnerability, both of yourself and your members.
Yeah, I agree.
So, let's start off. When did you know, I mean, you're young, when were you on the path to say, hey, we're going to bypass this normal thing, I would say normal, of I graduate, I go to college, and I get a job?
It was, so I technically only have like maybe a half a year left of college to finish.
Are you going to do it?
Yeah. So me and my mom, when we started out on this, journey of affiliate ownership, I told her I promised her that I would go back and finish school.
You're like an athlete that, gets the NFL contract
yeah.
and then,
and then
they're
finally
sitting in the
decides to go back to
community
school.
college. So
No.
have you been going this whole time? Or
No. So I took a little bit of a break just because I was coaching so much and doing so much. So my goal is to pick it up by the end of this year.
Where are you getting that from?
Just our local community college, IUK.
So you have an associate's?
Bachelor's.
Or you have a bachelor's from the community college?
Yeah.
That's cool, but I mean, you'll never use it.
No.
You just simply do it. Hey.
I'm doing it for my parents.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially why I got a master's degree. My grandma was like, you need to keep going to school. And I was like, all right, I'm not using this, Grandma.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's highly unnecessary. But it's good that Mom's happy because she supported you. I mean,
yeah.
You live under her, hey, my house, my rules type of thing?
But no, they've supported me a lot throughout the whole journey. And, they're one of the reasons why I'm able to do what I do and be so successful. Just, because they basically put me on their backs. And
that's a big lift. But your mom's Samoan.
Yeah, she is Samoan. She is Samoan. We're trying out for the
I'm telling you, you
SmackDown.
and your brother, was that your brother?
Yeah, that's my brother.
What's his name?
Caleb.
You and Caleb, the Stanley boys.
He's got the true Samoan genes. I mean, like thick arms, thick
You're
chest, and
implying
everything.
you don't. You're like the small one.
I'm the smaller one of the
You're
two.
massive, for the record. So, at what point did you know, though? Like, was it in high school? Was it like semester one where you're like, this ain't for me?
So I started coaching CrossFit when I was a freshman in college. So my parents gave me two things. They gave me two ideas. They said either A, you go back to Samoa, or B, you go get your L1. So they paid for my L1 as like my...
Seems very...
I know, right?
You can
two
go
very
to this
different
island
things.
over there.
Yeah. You can either go there for like a summer or we can pay for your L1.
Have you been to
I've been there, yeah. When I was super young.
I'm going to say this. I'm today years old when I found out Samoa was a place.
It is a real place.
Samoan was like a Hawaii thing.
Oh, no. They're like, Hawaii's here and the Samoa's all the way over here.
There's further?
Yeah.
Further west, I assume?
It's by Fiji, if you know where Fiji's at.
Today years old when I found out that Fiji, that is not just a water. So you didn't want, have you been there?
Yeah, when I was 5. So it's been a long time. So I would really like to go back.
But you chose the level 1.
I did.
Now, this was like an all-expense-paid trip to Samoa?
Yeah, and I chose L1.
What went through your head making that decision?
I was just so intrigued about what CrossFit has done for me. And
so you must have been doing CrossFit.
Yeah, I was doing CrossFit at the time, and I'd lost over 100 pounds, and it's completely shifted my mentality on not myself as an individual and my trajectory on life. I will say,
So you were 100 pounds heavier, and I'm guessing when you were younger. Obviously, if this was like early
16, 17, 18, around there.
So it was not ideal weight. It wasn't a good 100 pounds.
No.
A lot of video games.
It was.
A lot of Mountain Dew.
A lot of rolls.
A lot of
Mountain Dew.
Rolls like sandwich roll?
Roll.
I'm thinking you were talking like. So you had quite the transformation. Let's go back to there. What got you into the box?
My mom. Everything comes back to my parents. Yeah.
What's mom's name?
Kathy.
Now, by the way, Kathy Stanley
she won L1.
She won the L1. We gave away an L1 at the games.
2022.
Yeah, but she didn't go.
I gave it to one of my coaches.
Yeah. I would say this though, Mom was buying bad food.
Yeah, she was.
Right. So she
was an inhibitor.
Yeah, and and I say this as a parent. It's like, if you have a kid that's overweight, obviously as they get older, they're more independent. But it's like they're either overeating or you're bringing in some bad food. So was she bringing in bad food?
Yeah, so my dad, he works at Chrysler, so he'd work all the time. At that time, she was still working for the post office. So they'd work all night, essentially, get home super late, and it was easy to go just grab some fast food for us.
Yeah.
So.
What was your go-to? Oh, that's right. What's that place
Cone
called?
Palace. I love me some Cone Palace.
Cone Palace.
Shout out Cone Palace. Shout out Bev.
Get sponsored on this. Is that a local thing?
Yeah, it's a local restaurant.
When you were on the virtual episode, we talked a little bit about your cheat meal. So, Mom finds CrossFit, or you found CrossFit?
So we were doing personal training at a local club fitness gym at the time, and the owner was a strongman, and he saw CrossFit could make some money.
Yeah.
So he opened up a CrossFit in the back of the gym, and I was doing personal training with one of his coaches at the time. And he's like, hey, you guys should come back here and try this because it's so much cheaper than personal training. So we went back there and tried it for a free week, and I hated it. I hated it so much.
Really?
Yeah.
What was your first experience with it?
I can't remember what the first workout was, but when I got done, I was like, I never want to do this again.
This is hard.
Yeah, it was hard.
This is harder than Call of Duty.
Yeah, a lot harder than Call of Duty.
So, and this is where Mom steps up and she's like,
it's either A, you do it, or I'm taking everything away.
She was going to take everything?
Yeah, so she would
everything
make
is your PlayStation.
Yeah. So she would make my brother take me from school to go to CrossFit. And
Caleb's older?
Yeah, he's older. So if I didn't go, she would come take me after she got off work.
How often?
About 5 days a week.
And what's going on? At what point you're like, I either don't hate this. Was it I don't hate this because I'm getting better at it, or I'm losing weight?
I think it was a mixture of multiple things. I was around a lot of people that were older than me. I kind of found comfort in them and looked up to a lot of those people because they kind of drew out my confidence. And when I started with my brother, I would just literally hide behind him like I was a shadow.
You're a giant.
I am.
Yeah, well, so you were talking about hiding, or this guy. Meanwhile, this coach is he must have seen a little potential.
Yeah.
It wasn't just that it was cheaper. It was you're gonna be a strong dude.
Mm-hmm. Well, originally the coach wanted me to play football, and I'm not into sports. I'm not a sports guy.
Well, you're good at CrossFit.
Yeah.
I've seen you on the top of that podium. You're a good CrossFitter. So you're going. What was maybe the earliest milestone you remember where you're like, I don't hate this and I'm actually getting good at it?
I don't know. I was really strong when I was younger. I think it was when I was 17. I deadlifted 500 pounds. for my first time.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's like an old video on my Instagram where I'm deadlifting 506.
We're going to pull that up even.
506 for 5, and my back is just super round. I'm like,
Hey.
And I look at it now and I'm like, oh, those are stiff leg
If you're
deadlifts.
pulling 500, something's wrong with it, yeah. So, but was that like...
Yeah, that was one of the
I mean,
the
there's
key
quite
moments.
a gap between, like, I've never done this in 500
Yeah.
pounds. Like, so you must have been, strong immediately, but then gaining strength, like,
Like, a lot.
rapidly. So what was your first moment of, like, oh, I enjoy this?
When I would stay after and, like, practice movements. So they had, like, this little track.
Because this is you saying, I could be home playing video games.
Yeah, but I'd rather be here. So I would go out in the little track, and I remember practicing double unders. So we had them in a workout. I was currently unable to do them at the time, so I stayed after class and I practiced them for like 30 minutes until my mom had to come pick me up.
Did you get them?
I did, yeah. So I would do like 1 double under, 1 single under, 2 double unders, 1 single under, 3, 1, so on and so forth, and then eventually I got them.
When did you completely give up on video games?
Probably around 17 to 18.
So it was quick.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty fast to go from this is all I do in my free time to
CrossFit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, during that time, I'd kind of got in with a bad group of people that, were very negative, and, they're doing drugs and stuff, and, I was just around that all the time, and I actually stopped doing CrossFit for like 2 months because I was, smoking weed and... Yeah.
Caden.
I know, right?
I cannot
You're learning new
believe
things
this
today.
about you. So you found CrossFit, and then you fell off a little.
Yeah, I was around around a lot of negative people.
Well, who are these people? Just
they were kids in my grade, and just they kind of took advantage.
Does
of
Mom know about this?
Kind of ish.
Mom,
I mean, the
your
only
son
reason
down
they
there
know
getting high.
is because so I was on my 18th birthday, and they had taken me down to Bloomington to celebrate, and I told my parents, hey, I'm just going to a friend's house.
Bloomington sounds dangerous. Bloomington, So I'm going to my friend's house. I'm turning 18. Meanwhile, you're doing ecstasy, tripping your face off.
No, going 2 hours down south, and he'd gotten arrested, and I was stranded down there.
Wait, so your parents dropped you in Bloomington?
No, they took me down to Bloomington without my parents knowing.
Oh, your friends did?
Yeah.
And then your buddy had taken you there gets arrested?
Yeah.
And where are you?
I'm stuck in Bloomington.
What did he get arrested for?
He was drinking and driving.
So you were in the car?
Yeah, I was in the car.
Dude.
I know. Just turned 18.
And then where you're just like...
I'm stuck in Bloomington, so I had to call my dad at 1 o'clock in the morning to come pick me up.
And it's not close to where you live?
No, it's 2 hours away. So I had to sit outside a Village Pantry for 2 hours.
Is this like a...
It was cold.
Grocery store, Village Pantry?
Yeah. It's a little grocery store, so I sat out there for like 2 hours.
And was that it?
Yeah, and he came and picked me up, and
that was to in the car.
There's one thing that I remember from that situation. I got home, and my mom said, "I'm disappointed in you." I'm like, when you hear that,
At
it's
like 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
So as a parent now, you're like this.
Yeah,
they're stressed out.
That's like, I need to get my act together.
But that's good on you at 18 to have the wherewithal to, and that was pretty much it, or was that it?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. That was like, hey, I need to
back to CrossFit.
Back to CrossFit and take it serious.
Got rid of these friends. How'd you know a friend that was 2 hours?
They would go down there and party on the weekends, and
yeah.
they finally got me to go, and
But let's talk about this. I think part of the reason you had that group of friends and you're playing Call of Duty is you're 100 pounds overweight. You were lacking some self-confidence.
Yeah, I agree.
And did CrossFit help build that confidence?
Yeah, it did.
Now, as we were talking about, I mean, you have, 170 members?
Yeah, I'm just under 170 now.
I mean, for a moment, let's talk. 170, 25 years old. I've talked about it numerous times within Affiliate U. You're constantly taking your members out to coffee or breakfast. I always see the picture of out with
selfies.
this guy. Yeah, the selfies. It's really cool. But
I took that from your book, actually.
Talk more about me. Yeah.
Shout out to your book. I don't remember. You had a little page about how you took someone out to coffee, and
I used to do it all the time. Yeah,
learn more about them. And I took the Ford method, and that's what I kind of based the coffee off of.
I'm an inspiration.
Yeah,
because me, Kathy.
You have you, Kathy, everyone else.
Caleb, Dad, thanks for picking me up. No, but I mean, that's part of it. But what I wanted to ask is your story. Do you think that, because I do think what's amazing is at 25, it's like I'm 46, right? And at 25, I'm like, if someone's like trying to give me life advice, I'm like, bro, you don't have anything.
Yeah.
Like, you're 25. Like, and not that you don't have anything, but you have 21 years less life experience than me. Is it hard to, because you have to motivate these people and try to encourage them to change their lives, but you have this amazing story of like, I lost 100 pounds and I turned my life around due to CrossFit. Do you think that's been impactful on the growth of your community?
Yeah, I think it's more so on my vulnerability. We literally just had I do a monthly newsletter where I put a little blog just about stuff about me, maybe, or CrossFit, or just, things that I think about throughout the month. And the story was called My Headphones. And
because you've talked about this. Yeah, go ahead.
And how I would use my headphones everywhere I would go to, like, kind of hide in place. And, that's kind of...
What were you listening to?
Just anything. Rap music, anything just to get my mind off of it.
Man, you're such a degenerate, huh? Rap music, getting high.
Yeah, getting high all the time.
Snoop Dogg. That's probably too old for you.
I do listen to Snoop Dogg.
But you would use these headphones to, like...
Yeah, hide in place.
It's like you're like a toddler. You're like, I can't see you, you can't see me.
Yeah.
Or in this case, I can't hear you. But...
And I've kind of shifted, to the thinking that, that's what I want my gym to be. A safe place for people where when I have my headphones on, I feel safe. And I want everyone that, like, walks into my gym, I want them to feel that as well. So
well, they do, but it's so I don't say strange, but it's just so strange that I've only known you as this guy, right? And I've gotten to know you. I've heard the headphone story, and I know you've lost 100 pounds. It was Call of Duty, right? Mm-hmm. And you know that. I didn't know about that you were a pot smoker.
Yeah.
Makes me like you a little more. But you only see this massive, like, I'm like, what would you ever be not confident about, And
I think part of it
it's
is
hard, like, because you are that guy now, and it's like, so you do have to tell your story in a good way. Like, it's good that you're blogging, because if not, it's like, well, what is this guy, this 25-year-old beast? What's he going to tell me about confidence? Like, look at him, but you've gone through it.
Yeah.
All right, guys, if you like this content, please subscribe to the podcast. But understand, we work with affiliates. If you are interested in building your business, understanding strategy, building a better community, and building better coaches and careers for them, hit the link somewhere around this video, and we'd love to have a call with you. Every CrossFit affiliate knows that mindset is either what limits or unlocks an athlete's potential. But the problem is most people can't give you a simple and clear definition of what mindset is. And most coaches don't have a repeatable or practical tool to consistently train it. ENLIFTED is here to help you solve that. ENLIFTED is here to help box owners and their coaches become world-class mindset pros by creating a simple, repeatable system for keeping you and your athletes focused and confident. You see, ENLIFTED's definition of mindset is simple. Mindset is the story that you tell yourself. And our good friend, Mark England, who's the head coach over at ENLIFTED, will show you how simple words and better breathing can help create better stories and ultimately better performance for you and your athletes. If you want your athletes to stay engaged longer, if you want them to be more consistent with their results, if you want your current members to stay with you longer instead of you having to chase down new ones, mindset must be a part of your business toolkit. At Best Hour, we use the ENLIFTED method all the time. We have our own personal program inside of Best Hour, and a lot of our coaches have been trained personally by Mark. We literally use these tools every single day. You see, elite coaches must have the ability to get past their clients' mindset blocks, whether it's an athlete who's sensitive about their weight or coming back from an injury, or even if it's something outside of the box that's affecting their performance inside it, you must have the tools to empower that athlete where they need it most. So if you're serious about building a top-tier box with an elite mindset culture, upgrading your team, and supporting clients at every level, ENLIFTED is for you. Head on over to enlifted.me/best hour and grab your exclusive free mindset training. ENLIFTED. Mindset simplified, results amplified.
And when I was younger, I got bullied a lot. I did. And
so who's bullying a giant?
I wouldn't say I was a giant. I mean, I was...
How tall are you?
6'3" now.
And what are you, 400? How much you weigh?
About 220.
220, all muscle. We just did an in-body. You have 3% body fat.
3% body fat, all muscle, nothing else.
Samoan genes, which is an island. So you tell me about that. What's like where in middle school and high school?
Yeah, actually no. It started in primary school, so about first to third grade. I had a kid on this bus.
You remember this kid?
On our bus, yeah.
What's his name? Let's talk.
I don't remember his name, but he would torment me and push me against the windows on my school bus, and I would tell my dad, or I would act like I woke up late for school just so my dad didn't have to take me. I didn't have to ride the bus. And then about third grade, same thing. Like I would try to like make myself get sick all the time just so I didn't have to go to school. Just because.
Just one kid.
Yeah, that first grade was, and then I continued to get bullied through like third grade, and then same thing in about high school. So I had some instances with bullies.
And what was the turning point? Was it CrossFit?
Yeah.
Was that? But would that?
Yeah, I found peace in CrossFit.
But is that kind of what led you down the like the video game and
yeah
rabbit hole where you're like
anything to get my mind off of it? Yeah, anything to get my mind off of it.
Yeah, that's hard. I mean, it's sad. Like as a father, you're like, both directions, right? Like you wouldn't want your kid to be bullied and feel like you're doing something wrong if your kid is the bully.
Yeah, and I didn't tell my parents for a long time.
When did you tell them?
So for the first grade instance, it took probably about a month or two because my parents were like, "Why is he not wanting to go to school?"
Okay, but you told them.
Yeah, pretty young, and then I didn't really tell them about stuff that happened like the third grade, or they kind of knew some stuff about the high school, but yeah, I kept a lot of it from my parents.
For what reason?
I didn't want them to be worried.
In high school, you're thinking about.
Yeah, I don't want them to be worried about me, and I look back at it now, and I try to tell my members like, be vulnerable, because I held in so much for so long that it just all came to like a crashing point, and I think that's why I started doing like drugs and everything, and when I was younger, so. Yeah,
and it's one of those situations now where they say like you can't connect the dots going forward, but you can going backwards, right? So, not that you're like, oh, I'm so glad in first grade I got bullied, but that is.
Everything that has happened in the past has led me to where I'm at now, and that's how I look at it.
Yeah, and same here, right? Where it's like all these little things that you're like are bad. You're thinking yourself are bad. You can't. Like maybe it's bad, but maybe it's the best thing that's happening to you. And now here you are, not just because you're successful, but you're because of that moment or moments helping others not deal with it. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that's trickling down beyond that, right? As there are plenty parents in there where now maybe they're having conversations with their first graders that they wouldn't have if they didn't know you. Because who would think like, oh, my first grader's getting bullied? Yeah. Just like you said, like they're sick. Mm-hmm. So what are some other ways you mentioned the blog? I mean, when you do your selfie, is that a regular, like is it on your calendar to do that? Or are you just,
talk
a little bit about that, 'cause I think that's one of the best things you do.
Yeah, part of our monthly newsletters, we'll put like out the events for the month, and on the events it says Coffee with the Coach. So at the start of the month, I put down like the day, and then I'll pick a random person from our gym, and I'll reach out to them and be like, hey, do you want to grab coffee XYZ date? And we set up a time for that weekend, and then we go grab coffee.
How often do you do that?
Every month, at least once a month.
Yeah, I feel like you're doing it more often than that, but yeah. And what are some other ways you mentioned? In the newsletter, you called My Headphones. Yeah, so we do, in our newsletter, we do monthly events. We share our member anniversaries. We do our birthdays. We share wins from the past month that people like hit PRs, or, if someone gets a new job outside of the gym. And then we do like our committed club, and then typically a blog post written by me. And is that always about vulnerability? It kind of differs. It just kind of depends on what I'm feeling at the moment. Did you just sit down and write it? Yeah, I sit down and write it. So I wrote our one for next month last night, and it's about, the version. Every version of hard is different from the last. I talked about how when I first opened, I had a night job that I would go clean on the weekends, go clean crew car wash, just to get some extra money. So I'd be coaching all the classes every week, and then I'd go clean at crew car wash Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I'd wake up at 5 a.m. and go coach. And you were coaching. I mean, you opened with us. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So I signed up in May originally, and then it took me until November. I think that's a great runway. If someone reached out and said, how far in advance? I'd be like 6 months. Yeah. Like 6 months is, because then, like you experienced, I'm sure, it's like when you open, there's a whole different stress going on. Like I got a coach, but I'm glad I did all these other things. Yeah. Working with us, what do you attribute like those 6 months? Like what impact did that have on day one and beyond?
So buying equipment. So when I had originally sent you guys like on my equipment list, we dumbed it down to like
That's
the
like
bare minimum.
literally one of my favorite things when a box is open. I'm like, send me your equipment list. I just saved you more than you're gonna spend with us, because they'll be like, I need 12 GHDs. I'm like, you need 2, if that.
If that,
right?
yeah.
So what are some of the? Do you remember anything we made you get rid of?
Oh man, yeah, you made me get rid of quite a bit of machines, a lot of barbells, some weight.
Which, by the way, you could buy tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I don't need to take the point of that drill is like, rather than going into debt, because once you have debt and once you have to hit a certain threshold, it's like you change your mindset. It's like, I need money versus I need to have impact and provide value to my members. So now, and like I said, cool. When you have 50 members, let's discuss. When you have 100, when you have 170, now you have money.
Yeah. And it made a big difference. Like when we started, I started with the bare minimum, and at the time it was taking Rogue a little bit longer to ship in the equipment.
That's probably right after the pandemic.
Yeah. So we had like just the first month alone, we just had dumbbells and that was it. So
and you grew.
And we grew. Continue
it's
to
not
grow.
about the equipment.
No. Yeah. It's not. It's all about feeling. Like how do you make people feel when you walk in?
What do you think people would say if we said, how does Kanan make you feel?
They say crazy. Oh man, I'm telling you, I am the worst. I hate to say I'm the worst, but I am the most talkative athlete in class.
Oh, what do they say? Like, and you know what it is? Like, I take class, my buddy Pat coaches, and he's like, you're the worst. And I'm like, I'm just having so much fun.
That's it.
Like, this is cliche intended, like the best hour of my day.
Yeah.
Like, there's nowhere else for, like, even today when it's like I'm presenting and talking to you guys, it's like,
I just want to have fun.
This is my fun. Like, a party's going to come, and I'm like, from 7 to 8, I'll be like, and then I'm like, cool. But it's like, I love being around CrossFitters and affiliate owners. And like,
I just love being around my people.
Yeah, it's
I
like,
do.
You're not purposely trying to disrupt class. It's just you can't help it.
Yeah, so after class, I'll either apologize to Kinsley or John. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I went there.
Yeah. Well, no, that's so awesome. So, 170 members is, I wouldn't say unheard of, but it's very high. How has that impacted you? I mean, your degree is not in business, right? So going from 0, what'd you open with?
35 the first month.
I mean, amazing. I'm sure Fern set a high threshold and goal. Another 135 members. What are maybe a couple milestones where you're like, oh, I've got to level up as this or that?
Oh man. Probably the 100 member mark was a really defining moment in our journey. Just because I wanted to say, like, hey, I got 100 members. And my goal was to do that within the first year, and we hit it about 2 months before. During that time, I hate to say it, but a lot of me was selfish during that time too, where I didn't want to have help from others. So I felt like once I got to that 100 member threshold, like, that's why I leveled up as a leader and like, hey, I need to take a step back so I can have others help me. And that's probably been one of the biggest struggles on my journey, is like asking for help.
Well, we're going to talk about that tomorrow with Fern, but yeah, I mean, I think like you said, that's where some of this is like forced leveling up. We're like, I have to.
Yeah.
Because in order to level up as a leader, often you have to ask for help because I need someone to do this stuff. So now, one, asking for help, but also learning how to lead you. Yeah. Because, you didn't have coaches for a bit.
I mean, we didn't have coaches for a long time.
How many do you have now?
We have 2 other coaches, so Johnny and Kinsley, and they are amazing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, how old are they?
Johnny is in his 30s, and then Kinsley's 22.
Is there any challenges managing or leading someone in their 30s?
I don't know. I think because Johnny been with me from the start, so I taught him in his foundations class originally when I was coaching at another gym, and he stuck with me through the whole journey, and yeah, he looks up to me a lot.
Awesome. So
he calls me the gym dad. That's what he calls me.
I was a young dad, but yeah, you are. I mean, you have 170 kids, and you're doing a fantastic job. Let's talk goals. You recently bought a car.
Yep, I bought my first ever truck.
Of course, in Indiana, mandatory. And then you live in your parents' basement. Is it a basement?
It's not a basement. We'll confirm it is not a basement. It is a room.
But you live in your parents' house still.
I do live in my parents' house.
What's the goal here? Now I've wavered on this a bit because I I'm a big fan of saving money, so I'm proud that you're, earning money and saving it. But what's the goal?
Honestly, my goal is to move out within the next year.
So by the next mastermind next January,
Yeah.
you'll be out.
I hope so.
A little apartment or house. Maybe we'll buy a house.
I want to buy a house.
Yeah, get some equity. Have an asset.
That's what I want really
This
bad.
is big. You'll be 26.
26.
That's about the age I was when I bought my first house. I think.
Yeah, that's my goal.
I think you're off to the right side. What about the gym? Any goals? 200 members.
We have, I have 3 big goals this year. One is 200 members. 2 is to start to move out of my house. And then 3 is going to be our big fundraiser we're putting on. So
What are you raising money for?
we're raising money for a local foundation called The Up. And they help troubled kids and troubled homes, teaching them the necessities of life, where they'll basically work for money. I hate to use the word money, but work for points. And they can use the points to buy stuff for what they need, whether they need detergent for their house, whether they need food, and it's a really cool foundation. One of my members, Darcy, put me onto the idea, and we've been working probably for about the past 2 months now on setting up a big fundraiser for November.
Cool,
So
very
I'm super
cool.
excited for it.
So, one last thing. Yesterday at the year 2 event, so we have a special event only for those that have been with us for over a year, and you were in front of everybody. What'd you say?
I said I will achieve my 3 big goals for 2025 because I will stop at nothing to do it.
There you go. And knowing you, that is true.
Yep.
So I look forward. We'll do this again in a year. We'll talk about the money you raised, and we'll talk about your new house. And all of your 200 members. But keep up the great work. We call them AAA because there's 3 A's in Canaan. And because it took me about 4 years to say Canaan. So AAA was easier. But, man, you're crushing it.
Thank you, man.
You're doing the right things for the right people. This is what it's all about. Check out CrossFit Never Forget. Let's get one of your blogs linked up here, and check out Yup. We'll help you drive that forward.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Big thanks to our friends at ENLIFTED for supporting today's show. ENLIFTED provides elite affiliates and coaches with practical, powerful mindset tools that can transform your clients, your culture, and give you and your athletes an unshakable edge. Learn more by signing up for your free mindset training at enlifted.me/best hour. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. We appreciate you listening and choosing to have us help you in your passion for coaching and affiliate ownership. You can find more episodes just like this on all podcast platforms. If you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to us on any social media platforms, or you can visit www.besthouroftheirday.com to book a call. If you found this episode helpful for you, please share it so that we can help other coaches and affiliate owners to help build a bigger and stronger CrossFit community. Thanks for listening.